potentially big stories of the next decade is where will the Redskins land in terms of the stadium? For years, we kept hearing Bruce Allen was critical for getting the Redskins into a new stadium.
Dad, you need me for the stadium. Got to keep me around.
Finally,
Please.
Dan Snyder's best buddy was whacked for just having an atrocious record in his decade of being,
What's he doing
GM,
now?
president,
I have
whatever.
no idea what he's doing.
I wonder where
Counting
he
his
went.
cash.
Yeah, probably enjoying his new digs out in California.
Well, he's got
Just
plenty of it.
Not a care in the world.
So Bruce Allen is out in terms of trying to secure a new stadium for the Washington Redskins. And it seems like Washington, D.C. is the preferred destination of the Redskins. However, they haven't been able to secure a deal with Washington, D.C. In fact, I think that the land that they want is controlled by the federal government. So the federal government would have to release that property where RFK is for the Redskins to be able to build there, and they haven't done so. Larry Hogan, the governor of Maryland, wasn't that receptive towards the Redskins' desires potentially to be kind of in that Oxon Hill National Harbor area. But some interesting news here in the Washington Post. Apparently, Daniel Snyder, the Redskins owner, met with Maryland legislative leaders yesterday to try to get a future Redskins stadium that will allow gambling, which that's the wave of the future.
Makes sense.
Some of the representatives and state senators said that the Redskins are interested in the sports betting stuff. It's a long lineup of people who are interested. In one meeting, this is what I wanted to bring up. In one of the meetings, somebody who attended said Snyder conditioned keeping the team in Maryland on the ability to offer sports betting in a new stadium. So he's leveraging it and saying, look, I'm only going to stay in Maryland if you give me sports betting. But this is what jumped out at me. Two people said they understood Snyder to be suggesting he would rebuild at the FedEx location.
Oh,
wow.
That would be, I mean, I think that would be disastrous.
Isn't that a huge whiff?
Why would you rebuild on the same site you've been trying to get out of for the last 5 to 7 years?
Because he can't get anywhere else. He can't get into D.C. Virginia doesn't want him. Virginia also doesn't offer sports gambling.
Correct.
Maryland offers sports gambling. He can't get any other locations.
Right.
Would that be a disaster? I want to throw that out to callers, to Redskins fans. Would you be disappointed? Would it be a disaster if the new stadium is exactly where FedEx is in Landover?
Is it a disaster because the stadium as it presently exists just is so outdated and it doesn't have, the bells and whistles of all the stadiums that have been built in the last 3 to 5 years?
I think the location is a big part of the disaster,
too. If you tore it down and you built a brand new state-of-the-art 60 to 65,000 seat stadium, not too big, not gargantuan like FedEx Field was, that actually is a great place to go watch football, has good sight lines, has all the amenities that you're looking for, hopefully has better parking. Maybe it's not the worst place. I don't know, but I think it just seems weird to blow it up and build on the exact same
site. I think a lot of people
question.
wouldn't be down with that. 800-636-1067 because the people that live out in Ashburn, and that area has just grown over the last 20 years and continues to grow. All of those people that are Redskins fans, near where they practice, out in Ashburn, in Northern Virginia, they don't like driving to Landover. It's a disaster.
Yeah, you're right. And there were rumors that they were trying to put the stadium in Ashburn, a few years ago.
Right.
Some people were for it.
Too many data centers.
Well, this is before the data centers started popping up. But you're right. Data centers take up all of the land.
When we were driving out to Glory Days Grill for some of the pre-games toward the end of the season, I could not believe the size of some of those buildings.
Oh, yeah.
It's mind-blowing.
They're triple the size of Costco.
I mean, they are triple. They might be 10 times the size.
Some of them are.
I mean, they're so big.
There are about 75 of them now out there. And they're everywhere. But you know what? I'm okay with it because if it wasn't for the data centers, the developers would just put houses.
Right.
There'd be a billion houses and more people living out there and be more crowded.
People need jobs, too.
People have, exactly. Well, although they don't have a lot of jobs, it's not a lot of people working at those data centers. They don't have a lot of manpower.
It's a lot of machines and computers.
All right, phone number is 800-636-1067 if you want to chime in.
Yeah, if I don't see them building on the same land that FedEx is on. But my question is, where would they play?
Right. Maybe you build it side by
Do you
side.
just build it right next to it? Where would you
don't
play?
know.
I don't. That's a great question.
I mean, you play at
They'd
Bird Stadium
They'd
or
have
whatever
to
they
have,
call it
you know
now?
what? They'd have to have a side chick stadium.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would work.
See,
I mean,
was
these
told
are
by-
initial talks.
Yeah, I get it. A lot of options, I'm sure. But I was told by a construction source, a reputable construction source,
Very good.
a few weeks ago that the deal was already done, that they were going to build where RFK is.
You talking to Hit? You talking to Clark? Which construction source are you talking to?
I can't tell you which one.
These are just names I see on the top of the cranes around the building.
Well,
here
those are
in
the
DC.
biggest ones. But they convinced me that the deal was done, and since he was in construction, he knew exactly where they were going to start building. But maybe that's not true.
Your thoughts on the stadium at 800-636-1067. According to this Washington Post article, it says the team has sought a new stadium in the district at the site of its old home, RFK Stadium, but the city has not been able to gain control of the property from the federal government. So that might be their number one choice, but if the property is not released to the city can't say, okay, go ahead, build here, knock this down.
Mm-hmm.
It's all on the federal government. Some other nuggets of the story. Snyder said that he does see, as part of his vision to remain in Maryland, he's willing to build his own stadium. So that sounds like he's going to use his money to build
Right.
the stadium, but have to have sports betting involved.
Oh, that
there.
has to be tied in. Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
Well,
if
I
I'm
would think-
Snyder, I'm driving that bargain too.
I would think that every owner would want that.
Oh, of
How many
course.
states right now have legalized sports betting? About 20? And I don't know how many of those states have NFL franchises, but I would think that every owner would want sports betting in their stadiums.
Right.
The weird part
it's
is
legal.
it does seem like it's been moving slower than expected.
A lot
Like,
of
I
foot
thought
dragging.
By now, you would have a sports book at MGM National Harbor.
Oh,
but
trust
Maryland
me.
hasn't
As
set
soon
it
as
up.
as soon as it is legalized in Maryland, that sports book will be up and running with the quickness.
And according to this article, they're still kind of dilly-dallying, figuring out like licenses with horse racing, horse with tracks, with horse racing
Yeah.
to somehow still involved.
And all that West Virginia is doing is just stacking the cash from the sports betting because it's like they say that we say in the spots. It's the only game in town.
Yep.
In Charlestown.
All right, let's go to the phones. I think if that happened, if he ends up back in that location, I don't care if you have all the bells and whistles. I think the location is what prevents a lot of people from going to the games.
Yeah, but
It's
here's the
because
thing.
the traffic, like for all of the Northern Virginia crowd, that is a long haul.
It
to
is
get
a
to the
long
games
haul, but
and to
it's-
get back home.
But isn't there going to be like mind-numbing traffic outside of any stadium, wherever you put it? If you put it at the old RFK site, that's going to be just a bottleneck trying to get out. If
Yeah,
you
but
put
at
it
least
in,
you have Metro right there. What's the closest Metro right now to FedEx?
I think it's like a mile away,
Yeah, you got to have a
mile
Metro-
plus away.
You got to have a Metro stop right there to let people. I mean, Nats Park. Look, I hate driving to Nats Park from where I live.
Right.
It's a disaster. But you got a Metro stop right there.
Well, that hurts Dan charging $60 to park. He's not going to be in a rush to have a Metro stop right next to his stadium. You wouldn't think.